Huh?
Here we go.
Okay.
Happy holidays, everyone. Happy holidays. I am back again tonight with Mr. Bugs, and we are going to be giving an update, or Mr. Bugs is actually going to be giving us the update on the Gary Community School Corporation. And as you know, um, for many, today is a busy day. So Mr. Bugs has been very busy tonight. So we're on a little bit later. So Mr. Bugs,
Yes.
go ahead and give us the update on Gary Community School Corporation.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Barrett, and thank you all for tuning in this morning. This afternoon. Uh, I want to get a few things out of the way. First of all, the reason that I come to you to bring you these facts because I've almost reached my end of what I could do as a citizen and also as a school board advisory member. We tell the public religiously, I do, the truth, the facts of the matter of what's happening to their children. But the parents and the community is not responding. Things are getting worse. So I'm just going to give you a little capsule of what has happened recently that I think you should know about. You probably heard about some of this stuff, and I don't want to be repetitive, but these are some of the things that I think that you should know that's happening to your children. Number one, I have in my hand here a copy of the school menu, one page for the Gary Community Schools, and 6 pages for the Valparaiso School, in which Dr. McNulty's children attend. So I'm just going to give you a comparison of 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, of what the lunch meals consist of. The Gary Community School Corporation on Wednesday, apple, let me see, I can't even read this. It's so small. Apple bacon stick, apple bacon stick, graham crackers, fresh fruit cup, fat free, low fat milk. That's it. Now, Wednesday in Valparaiso, big writing where you can read it, by the way. Chocolate chip, French toast, biscuit, sausage and egg sandwich, breakfast kit, cereal, uh, Cheerios, mandarin oranges. That's Wednesday. Thursday, for the Gary Community School Corporation, strawberry Pop Tart, apple juice, fat free, low fat milk, which is next to nothing. Low fat milk, next to nothing is, I think the children say, and that's chocolate milk. For the same day on Thursday, Valparaiso, pancakes, cinnamon glaze, biscuits, sausage and egg sandwich, breakfast, cereal, Cheerios and raisins. That's Valparaiso. Now, this is just one meal I'm telling you about. Friday, let me see, what is this? A super donut, yeah. Your children go to school, Gary Community School Corporation, and they get for breakfast a super donut, fresh fruit cup, and that's a little small, tiny cup, a little fruit, and fat-free, low-fat milk, which is the cheapest thing that you could possibly get and give a child. Low fat. Now on Friday in Valparaiso, what do they have? Chocolate chip French toast, biscuit, sausage and egg sandwich, breakfast kit, cereal, Cheerios, mixed fruit, and applesauce. Now, this, I won't go on to the rest of it. This is just a few of the discrepancies. Now, a lot of people are applauding. They said that since the DUAB came up here and some of the DUAB board members seems to be honing in on that particular aspect, which is one aspect of the meal. However, there are some things that I personally brought to their attention that I think you should be aware of. Number one, a special population, for a lot of reasons, wasn't being operated correctly according to the state. So after 8 years, they returned it back to the Gary Community School Corporation. And the first thing that Dr. McNulty did was hire a white male individual that lives in Indianapolis that does not, according to his license, have a license to teach or to be a director over special population, nor, according to his license, was there any case where he ever even taught or studied anything in a special population. Now, what is the significance of that? If you have a child that has special needs and a decision is made by this unqualified individual, you can sue him. You can sue the district. Now, I brought that to the attention of DUAB personally, because when I asked for them to give me a copy of the license, they got very sarcastic, told me to go look it up myself, get it from the Department of Education. So I did. And when it came to Gary, I brought a copy of his license with me to give to each board member. And at the end of the meeting, I asked them, were they going to do anything about it? I was told no. There was a lot of questions asked about what was going to happen to Blue Island School. A lot of questions about the bricks. And did any black contractors get any jobs with the demolition of Blue Island School? And the answer was, we had 3 black contractors to apply, and it whittled down to 3. They never said who they gave the contract to. They never answered the question of who, if any, black contractors was involved. Now, they're in Gary, they're in your house. And you ask the question of them, and they evade the question. Now, you would think that DUAB would say, look, well, since we came this far, give the citizen an answer to the question. But no, they don't. And when they do ask them questions at DUAB or any place else, they ask open-ended questions. In other words, they leave it away for Dr. McNulty to get out of there. And in some cases, I've noticed, and you can look at it yourself because it's all recorded, that sometimes when they ask her a question that may be a little bit testy, they'll leave her a way out or either answer the question for her. For example, oh, you're trying to do this. I understand. This is what you meant. Oh, yeah. That's what I meant. Those are the kind of things that go on. I brought to their attention that she did not advertise that job for paving the school parking lot. Now, the school parking lot has been like that for years. Now, I'm going to ask you, what do you think is more important? Your students going to a building with buckets on the floor where it's raining in there, and you got to listen to that drops raining perpetually? Or does children need band uniforms? Or they need a well-balanced breakfast? Or do they need some asphalt on the ground outside, which is not going to be utilized because it's getting close to winter by anybody? But keep in mind, this contractor is located in Valparaiso. There is no information, no documents, no newspaper, and she was on the radio twice a month that she ever advertised, saying we're going to have this parking lot contract to pay the parking lot. Now, also keep in mind, there is a Gary contractor who has been in the business for 25 years, paving contractor. And he is on the school vendors list. What is that significance? Because when goods or services are supposed to be provided, you go to your vendors list first, which consists of Gary contractors. And Gary is primarily a black city. So he's already on there. He never received a call. I contacted Justin McAdams, who's the chairman of the Distress Unit Appeals Board, and I had Mr. Perkins to contact him directly so he could tell him himself. And a lot of people saying, well, Robert Buggs saying this, so that he could tell him himself, yes, I am a black contractor. I am on the vendors list. And no, I was not called. I didn't know anything about the job, nor did anybody else in Gary. Painting. She came on bragging about the orange and blue paint in West Side and paint. The painting contract is located in Hobart, Indiana. We have multiple black minority contractors that's in Gary. Now, I brought this up to y'all before, but you all don't seem to care that much about the facts, I guess. There's another instance that I brought to y'all's attention on the radio. And the reason I say that I pay my own money, because I think it's that important that you should know, because they don't let me come on the radio free to give you a public announcement. It's not benefiting me personally. I have to pay to tell you what is going on. But there was a young black lady, matter of fact, it was two of them. There was trainers, so to speak, interns in painting. Now, it is alleged, and I do have a letter in case somebody wants to refute what I'm going to say. And I talked to the young lady also. She was working. She got laid off, quote unquote, laid off, because the supervisor that she's working with took ill. And I talked to him too. And said this young lady, a black lady, by the way, both of them, was very, very good at painting. Very good. Dr. McNulty of the administration got rid of them and hired a white male from DeMott, Indiana, on a permanent basis. These are the things that's going on. And also, I want to bring to you one, probably the final time. I am still fighting the referendum as it's being illegal. I have another attorney that's going to present it before the Lake County Board of Elections, because I think that is a travesty that these black preachers, or several of them, would go around lying to you all to favor something that she is doing. And I will say this again. In Praise in the Park, Pastor Dwight Gardner, it was supposed to be in another venue. He had a lot of pastors out there, but from some of the pastors that I talked to, they were not out there to support a referendum. So let's get that straight. He sort of slipped that in on them. But anyway, in the Praise in the Park, he said, and you can look it up yourself, it's on Facebook, that he thought 16 cents a day was too low and that it should be increased to 20 cents a day. Now, this is about 2 days after the referendum had came out, with the amount being 46 cents per every assessed valuation of $100. Based on that, Eric Parrish, who is the consultant for MGT, raised it 10 cents. Now, I called to find out who exactly raised it 10 cents and why did they raise it so quickly. And Wesley Bennett, who's also on the DUAB board, said that Eric Parrish brought it to him at 10 cents and they amended the original referendum. So I did the math for you all. Due to Pastor Dwight Gardner's saying that the referendum was too low, and by the way, he lied about it being 16 cents a day. It never was 16 cents a day. It's based on how much property you own. If you got a homestead, it's one amount, but I went on radio and I told y'all the different scenarios. If your house was worth this, that. I gave all that information to y'all, and it wasn't information that I compiled, by the way. This was the actual calculator that I gave y'all, but you didn't listen, because a lot of those preachers, a lot of those legislatures was going around saying that Buggs was talking out the myths, as they call it. I think Dr. Vernon Smith said it was a myth, that I was wrong. So the referendum passed, but I did the math. And by by Pastor Dwight Gardner stating that the referendum should be raised, it costs you approximately $19.2 million more than originally you would have had to pay had the referendum passed at 46 cents per every $100 of assessed valuation. These are just a few things. Now there comes a thing which I'm going to talk about it and hope to put this to rest, although I'm not going to put it to rest. There was a lot of fights in the school first opened. The children would call their parents, text their parents, come get me, fighting out here. We sit in the gymnasium because they don't have any class schedules. So when the parents would call out there, I don't know whether Dr. McNulty advised them not to answer the phone, but the phones were not answered. So then the parents would show up at the school to pick up their children, and the security guards, and I witnessed this myself, hey, their backs to the door. When the parents would knock on the door, and I happened to be there one day, that the parents knocked on the door for 20 minutes. So then I was contacted by parents who elected me to go out and see exactly what was going on so I could dispel some of the myths if they was actually sitting in the gymnasium because they had no classes to go to and other things. So I went out. I followed protocol. I signed in, me and Mr. James Piggy. Date and time, signed my name and where I was going. Mr. Piggy went into the office and said I was talking to the executive secretary. I proceeded to go to the gym. Dr. McNulty was not in her office. She was nowhere close to her office. And she sent a letter out later on saying that she tried to corral, quote unquote, corral me and Mr. Piggy to go into her office and talk about why we didn't follow protocol of signing in, although we had. So when she accosted me in the hallway, she ran up from behind me and got in front of me, and she bumped me with her body. I asked her not to do that. She had two security guards with her, so I tried. I was right there, almost made it to the principal's office, and she asked me where was I going. So I said, "Didn't you read the security signing log? I'm going to the gymnasium. I'm an elected official. There's been some allegations made, and I just want to see for myself so I can let the parents know what's really going on." That is what I told her. She said, "No, you are not. You are going to leave my building." So as I tried to move forward, she bumped me again. Left, she bumped me again. Now, by this time, there's foremost school security and two Gary police officers in uniform that works for the school. So the young lady asked me, could she talk to me outside? And I said, no, I will talk to you in the principal's office, since I was right there by the principal's office. So she asked me again, can I speak to you outside? I said, I will speak to you in the principal's office. She said, turn around. She put the handcuffs on me, and I was handcuffed, escorted back down to the west end of the building where she called a squad car to transport me to jail. Matter of fact, when the car arrived, she put me in a squad car, still handcuffed. I asked her, what did I do wrong? What was it in a violation? Because there was never at any time did Dr. McNulty or anybody else say you were violating, you're trespassing, or you didn't sign in. Nothing. None of that was said. The only thing that was said is, I want you out of my building. I said, what am I doing wrong? Am I doing breaking in committing any violations? Or is it just because you want me out of your building? She said, yes, just because I want you out of my building. So that was the reason that I was put out. Now, later on, she put in the paper that she told them not to arrest me. But ladies and gentlemen, I was detained. I was handcuffed, not told why. There was no legal reason to be handcuffed. But it goes a little further than that. I filed a battery charge against Dr. McNulty for illegal detention and not being, being handcuffed and put in a squad car for almost an hour, about a little over 45 minutes. Now, in the meantime, I got a letter from Dr. McNulty that same day saying that I had threatened her administrative staff, the school security, and the police officers, threatened them. And I used some racial epithets, which I did not, never cursed, never raised my voice at all. I knew what I was doing because I suspected something like this may happen or might happen, so I was prepared for it. So I wasn't going to be going in there cursing or not following protocol or whatever. But anyway, to fast forward, I filed these charges on August the 19th with the Gary Police Department. I did not, I repeat, did not want it to be done downtown Gary, for reasons being that the administration is too close to people of influence with the prosecutor and the judges in Gary. That's why. So I took it to Crown Point. Crown Point said the police department did not do the proper investigation, that I couldn't bring it to them, that they had to bring it to them. So I'm thinking that I came back to Gary, started all over again. Lieutenant Tatum of the Gary Police Department was investigating. Well, during his investigation, the school corporation would not cooperate with him whatsoever about information they requested, because Dr. McNulty said all of this activity and the things that I was threatening them was captured on cameras, meaning more than one. So then they wouldn't cooperate with him, so he went to the prosecutor to subpoena some information. Well, the prosecutor called me, and I don't know what she was looking at, but she was scolding me like I was her child or something. I should have known better. They got handbooks, which the advisory board was never given in the handbooks. I explained to her that the protocol is that the school board of trustees stop at the security desk, which I did, sign and date the sign-in log, which I did, and indicate where you're going, which I did. That was it. But this prosecutor gonna tell me that I was supposed to be escorted. I said I didn't know anything about that. That has never happened before. Well, you should know better. You got a handbook. I'm reading right here. Well, what she was reading, I don't know. I told her, well, we never been deprived of that. As long as I've been coming out here since I've been on the school board, this has never happened. I did what I was required. Then she said, well, she asked you for your license, which was a lie. She never asked me for my license. I stopped and signed in because my license, one other time earlier, she got my license and took a picture of it. It was in the system already, so she don't ask for my license every time I go in. So that being done, the prosecutor, I said, well, I don't know what tape you're looking at, because the one that they was talking about had sound to it. Well, this one don't have any sound to it. This one don't have any sound to it. And I said, well, I don't know which one you're looking at. I said, well, did you see when she arrested me? When she bumped against, well, I don't see whatever was in the battery. I saw where you was trying to go around her, but it looks like to me that she was trying to tell you something to leave and you refused. Now, this is what the prosecutor will tell me. Now she's reading somebody's lips. I said, well, did you hear what, could you make understand what I was saying to her? Not to do that again. Well, you should have known better, because they got protocol. And I said, well, I told you for the 5th time that I signed in. That's all that we were supposed to do. I always asked to do. Well, it looks like you just wondering, and everything it looks like. But a long story short, she advised me that she was not going to file any charges. And in case you want to know, I contacted the prosecutor. I want to meet with him. I'm not going to stop at that. And if I have to go to the state police, the FBI, whomever, to bring this to some kind of fruition, then I'm going to do that. Also, I want you all to know that I am going to file charges against Pastor Dwight Gardner and Dr. McNulty for defamation of character. It was alleged, that he told several individuals that I called Dr. McNulty a white bitch. And I'm just going to tell you like I was told. Now, this was a week after this happened. I had never heard that before. But he did say on radio that he looked at a tape and he heard me and said that I called her and I was a misogynist and I should resign. That's also, if you want to see that WLTH archives, you can. But what I want you all to know is I never said any of these things. Never. They also indicated that I was escorted out of the school 2 days in a row. That never happened. I told the newspaper that never happened. As a matter of fact, as for the profane language, Mr. Piggy, and it's no secret, one newspaper put it in the Times, put in there what he said. Bugs wasn't there that day. That was me. And I did see him outside of the school the day before, arguing with Miss Melissa Henderson, where they put him out to school and they wouldn't let him back in. I witnessed that, but I was never inside of the school. I was never put out. As a matter of fact, the security supervisor, Danny Rial, said, "Well, I don't know. I don't. That was Piggy we put out talking to. I didn't see you. This is the first time I saw you." But anyway, I'm saying that to say how these things are fabricated, and I'm not going to just stand by and let my freedoms of civil rights be trampled on by somebody just because they think they can do it. If I have to fight the whole city or whomever, then I don't mind doing that. I'm in the civil rights organization, NAACP, so my rights are just as important as anybody else, and I'm not going to let everyone play dead to make it smooth for everybody else to say, okay, that happened, let's forget about it. I'm not going to do that. Nope, can't do it. Now, the other thing I want you all to know is that you do have a say-so about your children. I got a complaint the other day about 10 minutes to 3, Dr. McNulty announced that there would be no school for a couple of days, just like that. No time for children, for parents to make arrangements if they have to work for their children the next day, knowing that they usually go to school, just like that at the whim. Well, she's doing this because you all are letting her do that. Duab are aiding and abetting her, by the way. Duab is aiding in anything she do. I reported directly to Justin McAdams, who's the chairman of the Duab board, and here lately, Pete Miller. They are not going to do anything to her. They're like they're afraid of her. We, by law, are supposed to the advisory board, which there's no such thing as an advisory board when it comes to election. On the ballot, it says Gary Community School Board Corporation School Board of Trustees. So that's what I am. I was elected. I wasn't appointed. But in House Bill 1315, they said we are a created committee to do nothing. We have no authority. We can make recommendations that are unbinding, and we can give awards to people who contribute to the school corporation as appreciation awards. And that's about it. And we're supposed to meet 4 times a month. Now, we didn't meet when we were supposed to meet back in, I think it was September, because Dr. McNulty made the decision, although it is our meeting, that she was not going to attend in person, that she would do it virtually. But let me remind you, she goes to a restaurant twice a month. What was that? Maybe every Monday, I think, 4 times a month on the radio station, twice a month. I think that's about $600 or $700 per month. That's paid with your taxpayer money. She's not paying that money out of her pocket. And then she had the gumption to tell that she would not take any questions. She just get over there and feed you some information and get up and leave. So I'm just letting you know all of these things so that you can have a better understanding of what's really going on. You know, we were elected. You got 4 people that was elected to the school board. In 2022, those 3 vacancies will be up for some peoples for the, I think it's the 3rd, the 5th, and 6th districts. That would be 3 vacancies for somebody to apply to be elected. Now, there's another rumor been going around that there's 4 people and that Robert Buggs put 3 people off the board. That is a lie. When I found out there was some discrepancies according to the circuit court in Crown Point, that the process wasn't done right, they was never, when they were sworn in, they never had the paperwork to take it out to Crown Point to have it recorded in the circuit clerk's office. So then I tried to correct the situation. So I was told the Lake County Board of Elections to give each one of those members an oath, have them to go and get sworn in, give it back to me, and I was going to write a letter from the school board reappointing them. Well, that didn't happen. Some of them went out there on their own and said that they got sworn in and everything was cool. but there still was no letter from school board. And I was advised to go to contact the State Board of Trustees Association for guidance. They said no, they are not. They are not legal. Here's what you need to do: start all over again. Let everybody reapply. One of them said, "I'm not going to reapply." So when we did reapply, it said that the people that you vote on, it must be unanimous. In other words, all four people must vote to reappoint those people that applied uh, to the school board until the next election comes. Well, that was 3-1, 3-1, 3-1 on those applicants. So by being 3-1, that was it. Now, according to the law, the next step could have been uh, alleged to have been that the circuit court would appoint someone to the school board. But that didn't happen. So I asked what was the next step, and they said, well, it'll be vacant until the next election. So that's why we are on that. And put that to rest, because there's some people going around saying that we have 7 school board members, we have this, we have that, according to the state. I don't know what's on the state website. I really don't care what's on the state website. They go by who's elected to the board and who is currently on the board legally. So I'm done with that part. So I just want to let you all know that also, when I tell you all that the children are not being properly educated, the information comes from the State Board of Education, not Robert Buggs. I pointed out to you all from data that I got from the State Board of Education where we were in grades and graduation and IRE scores at the beginning of 2017 when when MGT took full, complete control of the district. After 1 year, under full control under MGT takeover, everything fell. The graduation rate, which was up in 92 to 93, fell to 58%. The IRE scores fell from 2017 and 2016 down to one school to 21%, and that school was almost 100%. That was McCullough, which they got some awards for the IRE scores. 1 year later, they started dropping. I have a graph to show that each one of you all how they went down each year. So again, these are your children, and if the parents don't get up, because what they have decided is that Robert Buggs can run off at the mouth. He's just 1 or 2 people, and you got some other people, community activists that cares about your children enough to go out and like Miss Nikki Bird and protest and try to bring the issue to the community's attention that this is serious. This wouldn't happen in no other neighborhood, period, anywhere in the United States of America. The takeovers are systematic in all inner cities. That's been their MO, modus operandi. They go in, the first thing they do, they take over, the state takes them over, and the first thing they do is eliminate the authority of the school board. Now, these are the people that you elect to represent you for the best interests of you and your children. But the first thing they do is dilute their authority. And then the next thing they do is go to the black preachers. This was the old tactic way back in slavery days. If the white person came in and wanted to do something adverse to a community, they would go and get the support of the black preachers, and the black preachers would go out and speak to them. I'll represent them. This is what they should do. And it worked for them, and it's still working apparently. But when I come to you all with facts, because I want you all to know. And the other thing is, last, I want to say this. Now, I don't want to keep saying this either, but someone asked me, why do I keep mentioning about my taxes? I mentioned it because me and Mr. Norman Bailey are paying an attorney to fight the illegality of this referendum. my taxes personally are less than $300 a year. So the referendum is not bothering me. It's not impacting me and my finances. But many of you out there are going to be impacted for the next 8 years, which is another thing I want to bring to you. A little over a year ago, everybody was talking about the poor teachers. They had a raise in 10 years, 12 years. All of this, the teachers need a raise. Now, I'm going to explain something to you about this referendum. Eric Parrish, Dr. McNulty, uh, Chuck Hughes, Dr. Smith, and others said that the first $1 million would go toward teachers' raises. Now, I want you to listen very closely to this. A raise is not contingent upon a certain amount of time, like maybe a stipend. I give you a stipend. A raise is supposed to be continual. Once you give it, it stays in place. Now, according to what they said, after 8 years, that $1 million a year that you was promised legally is going to end. So I asked the question, what's going to happen after that? And they would say, well, wait and see. That was Dr. McNulty. We don't know what's going to happen in 8 years. Maybe we will have it in the budget to continue with. But I want to fast forward. Now the teachers are in negotiation with a contract. And I understand that they are at an impasse. Now, those teachers a little over a year ago were so important. They worked so hard all of these years. And now they want a raise and benefits that's going to be equal to everybody else's, and they don't do anything about it. So, got any questions?
Well, yeah, I do, Mr. Bugs. I'm trying to fix the screen here so we can both be on at the same time. Give me a second while I get that right. I'm on my cell phone. Yeah, I'm concerned about the teachers' pay. I just want to get a real good understanding here. Are you saying that the teachers are not being paid a raise? The raise that we were told that once the referendum was passed, that the teachers would receive a raise. Are you saying that that is not going to happen?
No. I'm not saying that. The money from the referendum, the teachers received that money the 1st of January before any taxes was collected. So when they got the referendum money, they replaced that money. So they were paid that the 1st of 2021. What I'm talking about right now, there's a contract. Their contract has expired. They're negotiating on their contract. And it's at an impasse. Now, I don't know all of the details because the union president has not confided into me what all of the issues are. But from hearsay and different people telling me things, which I can't corroborate, is that they want to take away some of their pension benefits and increase their insurance premium. Well, that's taken away from everything they got. And then the money that they gave them, that stipend, and that money they gave them from the referendum is never, ever to be mentioned or brought into negotiations during this contract. Now, I don't know if it is or not, but if it is, they can't say, well, look, we just gave you some money. No, you said that money was for years and years that I worked for nothing. That money should not even come into the conversation. Not saying that it did, I don't know. But if it did, they should not allow that. But just think about if in fact it's true what I heard, and I don't like to go on hearsay, that they want to decrease their pension benefits that they're receiving now and increase the amount of premiums they pay for the insurance, that's a detraction from their contract. And matter of fact, it'll be taking away the little money that they gave them that allegedly they should have been receiving 10, 11, 12 years ago. But they're in an impasse, and they're supposed to be bringing some neutral person to come in. But my point being, why, if a little over a year ago, you was talking about how great the teachers were, how much they deserve, and now you're going to treat them like they're in a third world or somebody, that's wrong. But where are those preachers and those legislators and those other people that was talking about, yeah, the preachers, the teachers, they need to pay, the poor teachers did, and I agree, they did. They stuck with it. And some of those same teachers that stuck with the school administration, they got rid of them. And they hired people that's not certified. That's another thing that the parents need to know. You got children being taught by somebody that is not certified. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I would think in my little Perry Mason analogy that if you get a degree, a diploma, anything else from somebody that was not certified, then your degree is not actually a high school diploma degree because it wasn't earned properly with the dictates that's set forth by the state of Indiana. I could be wrong, but that's the way I see it.
So, Mr. Bugs, I know you are a part of the NAACP here in Gary. Are are you able to move your situation through the NAACP?
Uh, what situation you talking about being arrested?
Yeah.
With me being a legal redress chairperson, I doubt it. I doubt it because I'll try to get the state NAACP to come on board before they took over this district.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that that's something the national should be getting involved in, and the process is to go through the local president and then to the state president, and then they in turn would notify national. Well, that didn't happen, and I was quite saddened by that because this is one of the most grievous form of discrimination that you can think of. Gary is the only city in the whole state of Indiana that has an elected board of trustees by the people that has no say so in education. They don't receive any stipend that the other board members that was elected, I mean, per diem, that they receive when they go to meetings. And there's a $2,000 stipend that all elected board of trustees receive in the state of Indiana, except in Gary, Indiana. That is being what you call similarly situated but treated differently. That is one of the standards of discrimination. I
Mm-hmm.
brought that to everybody's attention, and nobody did a doggone thing about it.
Well,
So I'm
you
a
know
little
what?
bit, a little bit disappointed with the NAACP. Although I love that organization, I'm still a member of it, life member of it. But I call it as I see it. Sometimes if they have to be called out for non-action, then I'm not going to be sitting back and pretending when I know better.
Mm-hmm. Um, do you know of a way to file a complaint at the state level, like with the Civil Rights Division? Or how about the Gary-based Human Rights Division?
The Gary-based Human Rights Division, the only thing they do is like an administrative process. They don't do anything. They'll take your complaint and send it to the EEOC.
Oh, I see.
So you could do that yourself.
Oh,
But sometimes things get so politically intertwined in Gary that when you got people that's been implicated like DUAB and the Department of Education and MGT, uh, they seem not to want to touch that for whatever reasons. Everybody wanted their hands off because, see, even the governor has some complicity in this. He signed House Bill 13. He knew what it was about. He knew that it was removing all of the authority from the Board of Trustees and giving it to one person. One person can make a decision about all the children in the city of Gary. And they still don't have band uniforms. Don't have band uniforms.
mhm,
Now, they had Yolanda Adams out to West Side the other day,
mhm,
and it wasn't on Yolanda Adams' traditional show. What I saw was that Dr. McNulty was trying to highlight the accomplishments of the students.
mhm,
However, that didn't work out quite right. For example, they had a band director that was let everybody know how many instruments that he could play. You had a choir director that was singing over the students behind him, so we don't know what the choir sound like
mhm,
because prior to that, the choir was singing a cappella. It would be the choir singing. It wouldn't be the director saying anything. But it sort of backfired on him. if they was going to say we're going to highlight it, let you know what the students are doing, and I'm not taking anything away from the students, by the way. Matter of fact, I think they embarrassed some of them by some of the things that they did. I really do, because they wasn't properly trained. Uh, Everybody knows what a choir is supposed to sing like. I mean, sound like or look like, and it didn't look like a choir. I mean, they was dressed in their regular clothes, uh, and that shouldn't be. But when you gonna use students and portray them for something that what they should be, as if it's doing a big favor to somebody, that's wrong. But it did show that they was not properly trained. Now, why wasn't they properly trained? Because when they come in 2017, we had an A1 choir. They sing at the White House.
Yes, they did.
They sing at the White House. So now, since MGT been here, Dr. Peggy Hinckley dismantled everything,
Mm,
and that's the results. That's what you got now.
yeah,
And they wonder why I'm upset, because I'm seeing these children can't get the education back. This is the only chance they got to get an education. We
that's
can't
right.
go back and redo this thing. So
Mm.
that pipeline to prison is working in Gary, and I'm trying to tell the parents, you need to check on your children. All these so-called stakeholders, just go to the schools. Do like they do in New Orleans about the fights.
Well, to
We got some.
me, the main thing that I see that we have is we do have major civil rights violations. We have public public accommodations, where people are being denied access into a public building. We had that this year. We have due process uh, civil rights violations where people are not able to file a complaint and carry it through and get a hearing or determinations, um, and just a lot of other civil rights violations that are just it's unimaginable. It's so disheartening. But what I believe is that people like you and I, we have to tell the truth, and we let the chips fall where they may. Everyone has to be held accountable for their actions in this day and time. Me personally, my faith leads me, and I just believe that the people who are making decisions right now that are not equitable, I believe they're going to be held accountable, and the record is going to show that they did not make the best choices for the people of Gary, Indiana. It's very obvious to me. I think we just keep doing what we're doing. We just keep doing what we're doing. Eventually, people will start taking notice and know who to trust. They will know who they can trust. So, you know, Mr. Bugs, we always say we got to do this more often, and we
Mhm.
do. Um, and we do. So, because tomorrow is my daughter's birthday, I'm gonna get back to preparing for her birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, happy birthday. I want to say one quick thing before we go off. Is that we come and we let the stakeholders know, the leaders in this community know what's going on. And you would think that, well, maybe, just maybe, Bugs and Miss Barrett may be onto something. Maybe they are telling the truth. So let's look into it. It doesn't happen. So I just want to put that out there. So Miss Nikki Bird, you and me, uh, Jackie Lee, and several others, Attorney Coleman,
Mhm.
Miss Lorona Carter, and others are fighting this battle because, see, the children, what you're saying, eventually somebody will come back and listen to us. But that's not helping the children now. Or they go, they not, they shouldn't be sacrificial lambs.
No, they
That's all
should.
I had to say.
Well, Mr. Bucks, until next time, I really appreciate you. I appreciate your ministry because I know this is a faith walk for you. I appreciate you. But until next time, We'll be back on again with Mr. Bugs giving us an update of all the good and the bad, and also the ugly when it
Absolutely.
comes when it comes to the Gary Community School Corporations. We shall be back another time. Until then, everyone have a wonderful evening. Good night, Mr. Bugs.
Good night. Good night. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.